Hi friends, David here from Learn Stage Lighting and Learn Stage Lighting Gear, and today I want to take a look at Mega-Lite's Deco house lights, okay? If you're not familiar, Mega-Lite is a brand that's been around for quite some time, but they've really been making an impact in the last few years. They've had some fixtures that have come out that have been really unique, one of them being the Circa Scoop, which is a big theatrical looking scoop light. It's just one of those lights that you just want to look at, looks great behind bands and stuff. And they've really made a splash, really upping their game and really building some fixtures that are being seen on some of the biggest stages in the world. They've put out a product here in 2020, 2021, sometime around there, that has really caught my eye. It has for some time. I've been watching it, been watching people's experiences, and today I've got some fixtures here that we've purchased in order to look at them, okay? So what you get, and what is special about these, is you get a variety of lights. So they have pendant lights. This is a black pendant, LEDs on the bottom. It mounts directly to a regular electrical box, like a fan box, okay? And what is really unique about these is it connects via Cat6 cable, okay? So this is a low voltage product. What does that mean? That means it uses class 2 low voltage wiring. And to put that into plain English, that means in a lot of places, you can install these yourself. If you're a church, a venue, what have you, you can install them in most places without an electrician, okay? So when you make a system, you're putting together, units like these. These are the pendant lights. They also happen to have a recessed can, which goes into drywall typically, and uses springs like a lot of LED recessed fixtures. They also have neon flex tape and a few others, and they say they're going to expand it to more in the future, okay? The lights themselves are pretty wide throwing lights, and they each use about 20 watts of LED power, usually around 19.6, I believe, is where these sit exactly. So this isn't a house light for like a big venue, but I would say if your ceilings are under 13, 14 feet maybe, depends on how bright you want to get it, and that's the kind of thing we can help you with at Learn Stage Lighting Gear. These could be a great option. In fact, these ones I'm going to install in a venue that has a lower seating area that's under a balcony. Ceiling's about 9-10 feet, okay? And I've spec'd some out in a few other places for customers, one in a church balcony and below, and it's a really great fit for places like these, where you need something that might not be super bright, though it's quite nice, but you want to have that full control. You want it to dim smoothly, unlike, taking a LED light bulb and putting it into a screw-in fixture and putting that on a dimmer. It never dims well, okay? These do. And comparison-wise, when I compare, like I did for this job coming up, I compared the cost of installing these, bringing in an electrician, versus, or rather not installing these, installing a conventional can, bringing in an electrician and having that extra labor there and electrical supplies, versus low voltage, not needing an electrician, using AV labor to do this. And I found that though the Mega-Lite system costs a little bit more than a conventional can light, we're getting full color mixing, we're getting smooth dimming, and we'll probably get more longevity out of these fixtures, not to mention an easier and cleaner install. Okay, so yes, they did cost a little more than a conventional can, but it wasn't massively different, okay? So let's look at what we've got here. As I mentioned, this is the PQ20, the Pendant Quad 20. RGBW LEDs, the white's a warm white. So when you're making a white, you're typically gonna take the white to full on this. You're typically gonna go ahead and bring the red, green, and blue to full, and then start to tune them down. I found that I had in the brain here, I think I'd taken the blue down a good bit, left the red at full, taken the green down a little bit, and I found a really nice warm white that I liked. Okay, as mentioned, these mount, they have a steel rope here built in. And then if we look over here, we can see that you get a good amount of steel rope. Look to the Learn Stage Lighting Gear product page for the exact amount. That enters the base here, which goes at the top, and then you're able to pull that steel through and tighten it as close to the ceiling as you want, which is great. And it literally just mounts. This is a bracket for a standard fan box type electrical mounting unit. Then, boom, a Y cable with RJ45 connectors for Cat 6 23 gauge wiring. You can't just use any Cat 5, right? It needs to be 23 gauge. Okay, and then you can actually run 5 of these fixtures on a single run of cable as long as it's within 100 feet. Okay, so let's take a look at the brain and then we'll hook it up. Okay, so the brain, when you get it out of the box, looks like this. Might be inspired by you know, something else in the world, but that's okay. Consider it flattery, other company. And it's pretty basic. It's got power input. It's got DMX in and out through 5-pin or RJ45, and then outputs for the RJ45 to the lights. Now, they have plenty of warnings on here, but let it be said that if you do use the RJ45 for DMX, be very careful, label everything. You could fry your console if you plug it into one of the outputs for the fixtures. You're going to have terminal blocks or RJ45 for the fixtures. Typically the RJ45 is easier, but you know, you're able to do that, and there's a warning here about that as well. All right, coming around to the front side here, you get, looks like this. Got a nice screen here. I'm actually going to turn it on just to show you the menu here. So nice screen here. Go ahead and switch that over. Lights right up for you. And if you go into the menu, by default, it's in auto mode out of the box. That auto mode is set to a white, but you can enter the menu, change between different programs of auto mode when you're setting up and testing. DMX mode, each port is individually addressable, which I thought is really cool. And each port out of the 4 can be different modes. So modes would be whether you're using, they have a white only fixture, that's a cool white, warm white variable fixture. They have this full color mixing one as well. Okay, so you can set those modes, set those addresses. You could set it manually, like when you're just setting up, enter like I did, and I found a nice warm white with red at full, green at 204 out of 255, blue at 129, white at full. So let's see how this hooks up. It really is as simple as grabbing a Cat 6 cable, okay? Again, gotta be 23 gauge, so check your cable, okay? This is a patch cable that I just have around, but you know, if you're doing an install, you're probably gonna build the cables yourself, as we are. Plug it into my first output, grab my other end, plug it into the light. In a perfect world, this light would be hanging, but just for simplicity's sake, we're not going to hang it here. Okay, so I'm just going to take the light over here, turn on my driver, and boom, let there be light. And it really is that simple. I'm going to switch it here just for kicks to one of the color modes. So as we can see here, good colors out of it, especially the whites, but the colors work great too and are bright enough. They look nice. They can be a little bit pastel, but that's okay because these are house lights, people. What did you think they were, you know? And so the LEDs are tuned a little bit pastel instead of for deep color. But again, I mean, you look at these whites that we're making here and they're just really good. So all that to say, what do I think about these things? Let me get to a more pleasing white. So far, I've had these, been testing them, been trying them out here in the office, just leaving them run all day long. They've been great. They've been solid. Mega-Lite has a great warranty on these. I believe it's 3 years. And you know, the real benefit to this is if you're in a venue, specifically if you're volunteer driven, you're going to find that, you know, if you want to bring in some really nice quality house lights and you have a space that doesn't have overly tall ceilings, these may be a really good fit for you. Pricing on these, especially if you get, like, these are the pendants, they're a little more, but if you get the regular clip-in lights that clip into the ceiling, the recessed cans, the pricing on those is really inexpensive. The drivers, there's 2 versions of these drivers. The one I have here has 4 outputs that can do 5 lights each. The other one has, I believe, 20 outputs or 24, and it can do 1 light each. So in that case, you get, instead of when you do daisy chain multiple lights together, those 5 lights, they're on the same DMX channels. With the 20, you've got 20 individual outputs, I believe it is, but they only do 1 light each, okay? So it's a lot more wiring, but individual control. So that's your decision to make, and I believe at the time of this recording, they have announced a DIN-mounted, for permanent install, 3-channel one that does not include the power supply, so you do that separate. So look into that in the future as well. But the point of the matter is, you know, this is a product that I've been looking for a long time. For volunteer-based organizations and folks that want a really good house light for a smaller space, something without a really tall ceiling. You don't need to go out and buy, you know, a more expensive DMX pendant light when you just need something small. When 20 watts of LED and the brightness that this gives in the specs is sufficient, you don't need that big light. And so in that case, it's definitely worth a look at something like the Mega-Lite pendants and recessed lights. Especially if you have folks that would love to help you install them, because again, you don't need that electrician because it's all class 2 wiring. If you found this interesting, maybe you want to check this out more, check out our product page over at LearnStageLightingGear.com. We'll link to it below as well. And if you're looking at these, you're looking at your space and you're saying, hey David, we need help. We need to know how many of these we need. Can you help us figure that out? Yes, we can. Just go ahead, fill out the quote form over on Learn Stage Lighting Gear. We'll get right back to you. We'll ask you for some dimensions of your space, and you can put them in the notes section on that quote form. And then we can do some modeling, show you some different models of, okay, if you did this many, it would be this many foot candles, this many that. And we can make a recommendation to you based on how you use the space, because a church sanctuary where people need to read their Bibles is a different needed brightness than an auditorium where people don't really need to read, where it's just plays, or a music venue. All of these have different brightness level needs, and we're here to help in that quote process. And then if you do choose to get these from us, we'll show you where to plug them in and give you our recommendations on the exact placement, where they should sit, where to plug them in, so you guys can go and make some great lighting. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, let us know below or through the quote request over at Learn Stage Lighting Gear. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, always be safe, have fun, enjoy lighting, and if Learn Stage Lighting Gear is new to you and you're in the US, we would love to be the place you go for all of your lighting. Let us serve you. We want to do a great job. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.